So now you can see I started mining gas from there, but now I'm going to put them back on minerals because I noticed I didn't have enough drones on minerals and I was getting plenty of gas. And I'm starting to get up to that critical number of mutalisks, so I'm feel pretty comfortable engaging them at this point, especially since they're just using hydras, which, like I said, you'll see how they come into play with their lack of mobility here pretty soon. Just looking around, making sure they're not trying to sneak an expansion anywhere nearby. Not that you're going to see that, because it's really hard to defend extra expansions in Zerg vs. Zerg. And as you can see, I've got enough mutalisks now that I can just pick them off. I do a really bad job of microing here, like I mostly just get hit and don't get off any shots, but it was kind of an awkward angle, and I just wasn't timing it right. And the way you micro these guys is you want to group them in a group, and you want to group them with either an Overlord or a larva, which makes them, like if you notice right now, I mean, no one has to catch up, but they're kind of all stacked on top of each other, so it's like having one single mutalisk, which allows you to micro them a lot more effectively. And then the way you micro them, especially if you're fighting combat units, there's a few different types of mutalisk micro, but the most standard against is regular combat units like hydras or more commonly marines. You just kind of wait till you get in range, and then you hit H real quick, wait for them to shoot, and then about as soon as they're shooting, just click behind them so that they flee back out. And here's where it comes into play with the mobility. You see, he wants to expand there, but I can just snipe it off, and his hydras his pretty slow hydras have to go leave his base and run all the way around to his natural. And then if he brings them all out into his natural there, I can just fly into his base and kill his drones, which is one of the main reasons why you don't see hydras very often. That, and they just aren't particularly effective. So as you can see, I fly at him, hit H, shoot, and then fly away. And that's pretty much how you do that. And then there's a few other types, like if you're being chased by Scourge, you want to use patrol micro. So you kind of run away from him, and then you hit P for patrol, and kind of click behind your mutalisks and behind the Scourge, and then you just give them just a split second, and then you click back in front of your mutalisks again. And if you do it right, they'll just really turn around, fire a quick shot, and kill the Scourge. But that's tricky to do, and if you miss time it, obviously you're going to take the full damage from the Scourge, which is why Scourge are good to use. I mean, at the pro level, you'll see them use patrol micro pretty effectively, but it's tough to do consistently and not get hit, especially if you've got a lot of Scourge chasing you. Although obviously having more mutalisks helps there because you've got more splash damage. So if you've got 4 Scourge chasing you, all 11 mutas shoot, and they do random splash damage, you might be able to take out a few more if you've got like 11 as opposed to whatever. So right now, you know, I could maybe try to go in his drone line, but I'm probably going to take casualties. But I know he doesn't have a base. I've got 2 bases, so I'm not too worried. And I'm just going to whittle down his military, and then when his military gets pretty low, I'll be able to go there and start killing some drones off. Because he's not really giving me any huge openings to run in and kill drones. So I've whittled down most of his hydralisks, so now I'm pretty much free to go ahead and just start decimating the drone line. And he's hatching up 1 or 2 more hydralisks, but one at a time obviously isn't going to do anything to a full group of 11. So to recap the build order of 12 hatch, what you want to do is you want to build drones till 9. When you get to 9 supply, build an Overlord, and then keep building drones till you get to 12 supply, and then right as you start hatching those drones that take you to 12 supply, send out a drone to your natural and build a hatchery at your natural as soon as you have 300 minerals. And then from there, you immediately don't build any more drones at this point, and then build a spawning pool as soon as you have enough minerals after building your hatchery. And then as soon as you have enough minerals after building your spawning pool, build your extractor. So it's hatchery on 12, spawning pool on 11, extractor on 10. Then at this point, go ahead and build about 3 more drones, and then from there you're just going to want to go ahead and start building Zerglings or drones depending on what your opponent is doing. And don't forget that as soon as the extractor finishes, go send 3 workers to start getting your gas, because you absolutely need the gas, and the faster the better. And then with that first 100 gas, you want to go ahead and upgrade your hatchery to a Lair, because you need the Lair for the Spire to make mutalisks. And then with the next 100 gas, you want to get Zergling Speed. And Zergling Speed is crucial, because if your opponent gets Zergling Speed, and like usually you need to have your Zerglings kind of waiting by your natural base, so you can't just run in there and kill them. If you just have them sitting in your main base, you can just run into your natural base and kill any drones you transfer to your natural. So you need the speed to keep up with him, because if he gets speed, he'll just be able to run in and wreak all kinds of havoc. And if you're trying to chase his fast Zerglings with your slow Zerglings, he's going to get a bunch of drone kills, and it's going to be just really frustrating to try to chase down these fast Zerglings while having to worry about everything else you have to do in your base too. And then as soon as your Lair finishes, you want to immediately build the Spire. And when the Spire is like just starting or about a quarter of the way done, go ahead and build an extra Overlord or 2, so that you have population room for mutalisks when they hatch, because you're going to need, depending on how many you're hatching at a time, you're going to probably want at least 8 population space free, if not like 12 or a little bit more, to accommodate the next few mutalisks coming out. And at 300, when your Spire's at 300 health or halfway done, go ahead and stop making anything out of any of your hatcheries so that you can save up larvae, so that as soon as the Spire hatches, you can get as many mutalisks as possible, as quickly as possible. And from that point, you can pretty much just keep pumping mutalisks and Scourge, and it will pretty much turn into a mutalisk battle of sorts. And then just try to be smart with how you use your mutalisks against your opponent, you know. Attack where he's not, you know, if he goes to attack your base, you probably want to go defend it, but just, you know, try to be smart and try to find weaknesses in his flaw, or in his game plan. And as you can see here, this is an example of mutalisks against Hydra, and this is why you don't use Hydras in Zerg vs. Zerg, because they're not very effective against mutalisks, and they're way too slow. So yeah. If you start using this build, you're going to notice that you're going to do significantly better. And if you're not currently using a build like this, like if you've been using Hydras or doing things, you know, drastically differently from what you saw here, this is what's considered to be pretty standard, typical StarCraft play, and it's really about the most effective way to play Zerg vs. Zerg. I mean, you know, if he tries to go for too much tech, I mean, if he goes for Lurkers and Zerglings, and you get Mutas, then he's going to die because he's not going to have any anti-air defense, and you're just going to be able to kill his drones, kill his Overlords, and win. And if he goes for like a bunch of defenses, whether it's ground or air, it doesn't matter. If he goes for a bunch of ground defenses, well, your mutalisks can just kill it, and he's wasting all those drones, so he's going to have a really bad economy, and you'll just be able to overrun him 5 minutes from now. And if he goes for a bunch of anti-air, his economy gets bad, and you can also use your mutalisks to kill a little bit of his army, and then you can just run in there with Zerglings and kill his spore colonies, so that your mutalisks are free to once again kill him. So there's really no viable option he has. I mean, this is really the only way to play. You know, and if he goes for Hive Tech, well, he's going to have, because he's spending so much money on getting Hive, getting Queen's Nest, all that stuff, that he's not going to have anything to defend Mutalisk or Zerglings, and you'll win that way. So yeah, enjoy practicing with this, and hopefully this will bring you better results than you've been having if you were not familiar with this type of build.